Guys, I got a leaked image of the Hardware 4 computer. Wow, okay, what does all this mean? Well, this means that they're gonna be adding new cameras that are more towards the front fenders, and they're gonna have better visibility. Oh, and that should help with full self-driving performance, right? On blind spots, that kind of thing? Yes, and guess what? Deliveries of Hardware 4 vehicles have already started. Really? So what do the new camera feeds look like? Nothing. No, they don't have any new cameras. Okay, well, did they add a HD radar or anything, or? Yes, but you can't use it. Are we waiting for a update or something? Or maybe 2 weeks? Maybe? Fun. That sounds good. The mystery of Hardware 4 is a tale as old as time, because honestly, we were talking about Hardware 4 kind of indirectly since 2019. Back when Tesla first had Autonomy Day and they unveiled their custom full self-driving computer, which is referred to as Hardware 3, there were already people asking about Hardware 4, and Elon said that within 2 to 3 years they would be ready to announce it or unveil it or whatever. And here we are nearly 4 years later, and we get the leaked photo of Hardware 4 from Green the Only on Twitter. It has references to an HD radar, which Elon referenced in the past, saying that type of radar makes sense on vehicles, but the radar they were using before didn't make sense because the bitrate of the data was just not that good. And it had references to more camera placements in the front fenders, so we were all looking forward to Hardware 4 hopefully being announced or at least talked about at Investor Day, because Tesla wants to avoid the Osborne effect, obviously. So we thought it would kind of be a repeat of Autonomy Day, where at Autonomy Day they said all the vehicles that we've delivered the past month already have Hardware 3. That's how you kind of get ahead of Osborne. You only make the announcement once the switch has already taken place. So we thought Investor Day maybe would be a good time to make this announcement, but Hardware 4 wasn't really discussed at all. In fact, there was barely any references to robo-taxis or ride-sharing. Of course, Investor Day had to keep everything intentionally vague, but there have been reported deliveries now of Model S's and X's that are rocking the Hardware 4 full self-driving computer, the one that is a different mounting bracket, so it's not going to be retrofittable to previous generation Teslas. But we were all excited to see what kind of improvements or enhancements Hardware 4 will have, and the plot thickens even more so because all of the Model S's and X's don't have any new camera placements. It's pretty much all the exact same cameras as before, and the Kilowatts was able to spot a few showroom models that had Hardware 4, and all that we can really tell is different is the resolution of the existing cameras seems to be a little bit better. I mean, some people were saying, wow, it's night and day. I don't know, to me it still looks like, you know, fairly compressed car camera footage. It's a little bit better color correction, and it's a little bit sharper, but I wouldn't say this is as big a jump as, you know, the 1080p to 4K. It's just like a little bit better, but the craziest thing that I think is honestly mind-boggling is of the people that have started taking delivery of Model S and X vehicles, they were told by Tesla representatives that their vehicle doesn't have working full self-driving visualizations of any kind, nor do they support autopilot or navigate on autopilot. Definitely not full self-driving beta, because NHTSA made sure that the rollout of that has stopped until Tesla addresses all of their concerns and requirements, which who knows how long that's going to take. But until then, yes, that means that people, even the Plaid buyers who have paid well over $100,000 for their Tesla, don't have basic autopilot functionality. And on top of that, they've removed the ultrasonic sensors, so of course you don't get the park assist, you don't get summon or smart summon or auto park, or all of these features that many of these customers may have spent possibly $15,000 on. And I think it's showing a growing problem with Tesla's hardware versus software team. They're not collaborating together enough on these rollouts. There's just an extreme focus on, okay, here's the new standard, here's the new Hardware 4 computer, let's start rolling it out. And even though the Hardware 4 computer has the inserts for additional cameras or additional sensors, they're not ready to necessarily introduce those new cameras on the Model S and X, so just ship it with the new computer, but it doesn't have the same video feeds, which means I guess it's either not ready to support full self-driving visualizations or autopilot or any of that. But then again, Cybertruck, which should be launching later this year, that's gonna have different camera placements, and Elon has said time and time again that will launch with Hardware 4. So maybe Cybertruck gets the new camera locations, but Model S and X don't, although we have proof that the new Model S's and X's do have HD radar equipped. But honestly, I am so confused by everything. Like, this whole train of events is very, very confusing and I'm sure frustrating for a lot of new Tesla buyers, because I think what happens a lot of the time is the hardware team makes a decision on what to cut out or what to include, and they just kind of briefly check with the software team. It feels like they're like, yeah, we don't want to keep buying these ultrasonic sensors. You guys can replicate park assist, right, with the occupancy network? And the software team's like, maybe, yeah, I guess we could do that. And the hardware team's like, cool, we're getting rid of them later, and we're just gonna tell everyone that park assist and summon and all that will come back in a future update. But that was back in October. It's March now, and Tesla still has not added park assist or summon or any of those proximity-based features to the vehicles that don't have ultrasonic sensors. And now we're seeing a very similar trend go on with Hardware 4, because this is a different computer that, according to Monroe Live in their analysis of Hardware 4, uses twice the energy, which isn't great for efficiency. But because of this new updated architecture on the Hardware 4 computer, it's not using the same software. Basically, it's not ready to do the basic things like autopilot or auto lane change or even basic full self-driving visualizations. It's not ready for. So that results in a lot of new Tesla buyers kind of waiting around for a software update, and Tesla provides them with no concrete timeline. They just say soon, 2 weeks or whatever. So I hope that this video is dated incredibly quickly, to be honest, because that would mean the people that spent 6 figures on their car actually get the features they paid for. But it's even more confusing considering they don't have the updated camera layout that so many people were convinced Hardware 4 was going to be rocking. All they have is just slightly enhanced resolution, which personally I don't think was the limiting factor when it came to this development of full self-driving beta. I watch lots of different channels analysis of it. Chris from Dirty Tesla does a great job demonstrating FSD beta, as does AI Driver, and I'm sure there's others you guys could link down below. But most of the time, it's not so much that there's something in front of the Tesla that it's going to run into. It's just too hesitant at the wrong time, and it's its strategy navigating the world around it. But also, yes, even Chris mentioned that there are times where there are blind spots on really, really tight corners, and he can see a car coming from one direction and know that it's not safe to proceed, but the Tesla can't because of the placement of those blind spot fender cameras. So I was getting all excited. Okay, maybe Hardware 4 will have new camera positions. There was some talk that maybe they would be in the headlights or they would be near the bumper. That would allow them to probably really easily replicate park assist, and also maybe have better visibility on those blind corners so that the cameras are further ahead of the vehicle than where the driver sits. But right now, the only cameras ahead of where the driver sits are facing backwards, which isn't really going to help you when you're in a blind corner. So those are most of the circumstances where I was seeing FSD beta struggle. So, I know in the past Elon said HD radar might be useful, but I don't think that's what's preventing it from being safer, to be honest. And the inherent blind spot of these cars and the camera placements, I think, is what needed the most amount of attention. But now they're shipping the new Hardware 4 without the new camera placements or additional lenses. So I keep speculating, like, is Tesla just intentionally trying to keep this transition to Hardware 4 vague so that people feel like, oh, I don't need to wait, I don't need to hold off on taking delivery, I'm just gonna take delivery now because who knows what is in store for Hardware 4. Like, maybe at one point they roll out the Hardware 4 computer, but then a couple months go by, then they roll out the new camera locations, and then once the Cybertruck is ready, the Hardware 4 can take advantage of the new camera positions on the Cybertruck and all that. It's just really bizarre what they're doing, and I'm sure Tesla's trying to be smart about it and probably trying to be strategic about Osborne versus future models versus existing inventory that they kind of need to sell out of. Either way, I don't know exactly the reasoning behind it. I still think that Tesla needs a much bigger emphasis on their software department. I know that may seem like a lot to ask because Tesla already has basically the best in-vehicle software we've ever seen. It's so customizable, and they have the biggest screens in all of their cars, and their energy consumption data is super useful, and of course the Easter eggs and fart mode and games and all that is fun, and it's basically unparalleled in the competition. But when it comes to just basic features that people are expecting to have in their vehicles, I feel like there needs to be a designated team of people that just work on, public release features, like just work on autopilot on the new vehicles, or just work on summon, or just work on park assist, rather than have what we're doing right now, which appears to be one software department that goes all in on full self-driving beta development, and once that takes full priority, then we don't touch autopilot. We don't touch navigate on autopilot. We just go all in on trying to make robo-taxis happen, and everything else goes on the back burner. That's why we have dumb summon, as Elon kind of indirectly referred to it, and autopilot still making classic mistakes on my vehicle, and people that have been driving their Teslas around without ultrasonic sensors for the past 6 months months waiting for this promised update of Park Assist to finally roll out, and it's still not there. So having designated teams for each of these features might not be the most efficient way financially for Tesla to run their software, but I think it would result in a much smoother and much cleaner experience for their customers, which I feel bad for, because honestly, at this point, it feels like Tesla can basically get away with whatever they want. Because they have such an insane lead with production capacity and the charging networks and the range numbers of their vehicles, like they've made such desirable products that I love driving, but the end result is Tesla has no consequence. If they want to screw the customer like this or say, yeah, we don't have to give them a feature we said we were going to give them, or yeah, you can just wait on autopilot until we get around to programming the updated firmware for hardware 4. They can do that because if we get upset and say, I don't want to buy a Tesla, someone else is going to, and Tesla's not going to care. And even if we all started boycotting them, they'll probably drop the prices again even further, and then we'll kind of forget about why we were upset and buy more cars. So this is why I root for the competition. It's not like I'm one of those people that is convinced Tesla needs to drive out all other automotive companies and everyone else needs to die. No, it's a good thing. It's healthy for us, the consumer, to have competition. Otherwise, Tesla can keep kind of pulling crap like this, and we just have to put up with it and say, yes, sir, we will obey your every command. And this really sucks because as much as I complain, I really do admire what Tesla is doing. I think pursuing autonomous driving is a really noble field to try to ensure better safety for all passengers on the road, and I think their approach to full self-driving is probably better than anyone else's approach. It's way more scalable and way more cost-effective. Fleet data training is definitely the way to go, and I admire how profitable the business has become and how quickly they've been able to ramp up. So I want Tesla to succeed, and I am a shareholder, I am a customer, and I really think they've made something special with their products, but at the same time, to turn around and make these really confusing decisions and kind of leave a lot of their customer base stranded is heartbreaking, because I don't want people to have a worse experience than I had with my Tesla. I want future customers to have better experiences with better prices or more features than what I have, not less. So please, of course, feel free to let me know in the comments down below what you think makes the most amount of sense. What is this rollout of hardware 4 trying to do? Why are there no new camera positions on these vehicles that are rocking the updated computer? Are they going to offer retrofits to the vehicles that have hardware 4 if they need those additional cameras? Let me know your predictions down in the comments below, and thank you to everybody supporting this channel directly. It seriously helps us out a ton, as does just watching these videos. Thanks again. Have an excellent rest of your day.